Yeah, you've also written for other sites as well. You've done some work for Kotaku.
Yeah.
Now you do things for like ZAM and Vice or Waypoint.
Yeah, a little bit here and there for them.
Yeah, so it obviously took you a while. Like any freelancer, it takes a while to sort of build up a rapport and then, you know, start writing for other sites and things. Comparing how you started back then, do you see it differently to how you start now?
Yeah,
if someone wants to start now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you'd even begin now. When I talk to people, I feel like you have to aim really high when you start these days. You either write for free for a long time and just sort of get by, or you go right to like the top dogs, you knock on their door and you sort of say, this is who I am, this is the piece I want to write, I really think that I'm going to be good at this, please give me an opportunity. A lot of the places that I got my start in either don't really have a budget anymore, or just things have shifted and changed so much. It's much harder to just find like a local place especially that will give you money these days.
And by local you mean just in Australia?
In Australia. Like Games on Net used to be fantastic. They have shriveled up. I say shriveled up, I mean the site doesn't exist anymore. MMGN was pretty good for a while, but they're gone.
Ozgamer, are they still?
Ozgamer is still going, but I don't want to say too much on the air about.
No, but like, you know, is that sort of a place for people to start to?
Not so much anymore, I'd say. There's a few places here and there. Hyper Magazine, of course, you just got your first piece published in
Hyper.
In
was
Hyper.
great to talk to, so
but Hyper has gone quarterly. They do have a web presence as well, but it's harder to, like, if you have a big idea, it's harder to pitch that there than it used to be, I suppose. These days, I tend to point people towards sites like Waypoint, like ZAM, that do encourage people to find their own voice and write these longer pieces and pitch these big ideas that they have.
But those are international sites. They're
both based in the US, so Vice is set between the UK and the US.
So if people are going to pitch to those sites, they have to keep that in mind, you know, and not necessarily just Australian content and stuff. It needs to be a wide-reaching sort of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, often, if something's very close to your heart, you know, often it is something that will have a broader global appeal, or if it is a local piece, you need to find how that fits into the grand scheme of things, I suppose. Like, there was that piece that I wrote for Waypoint that you helped me out with that was about Mario Kart and a local esports scene that happened here.
Yeah. And
just I had to make sure that wasn't about what the esports scene is like in Australia so much as a broader talking, that's not really the wording I want to use, but I need to go a bit broader, I suppose, of just discussing esports as a larger global issue than just looking at the local scene with something like that. But yeah, if you have something, like if you want to review, say, AFL Evolution, pretty hard to get that commissioned anywhere these days. Although I did actually get an offer the other day, but I couldn't do it because I just don't know enough about AFL, but I got that offer because I've been working for nearly a decade now. And
so people sort of trust your voice and they trust, you know, your professionalism.
Yeah, I mean, they trust that I'll get it in on time and it won't be a complete shambles.
What's the difference between writing for a kids magazine and writing for, you know, a wider reaching magazine then?
It's very different. Writing for Mania magazine, very different tone, completely different writing style. I mean, the actual words are very different from what I'd be writing anywhere else, but the intent is sort of the same. One thing I've always really appreciated about Mania specifically and the editorial process and like the relationship I have with this magazine and my editor is that to me it's very important if I'm reviewing games for a kid that I'm allowed to be truthful, that there's no sugarcoating. If a game is not good, I can say it's not good. If a game's not going to suit every audience, I can specify which ones. And that's something I've always really appreciated about Mania is the fact that I shouldn't use any swear words here, so I'm not going to use the wording I want to use for this.
You can swear on this podcast. It's on this show. It's no problem.
Yeah, okay. I'm more talking about kids magazines. So I don't know if I should use the word bullshit, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't bullshit in Mania, and I feel like the magazine doesn't bullshit in general, which is really good, I think.
It's also important to kids. Kids can tell, you know, when they're being pandered towards too much, you know. So I can say, like, you know, this game is, you know, this isn't a good game, or maybe if you really like this license, you'll enjoy it, but, you know, the gameplay's lacking, or this one doesn't look very good, this one's too short, it's too difficult.
all sorts of things like that. I always appreciate that I do get the opportunity to do that, because I think back to when I was a kid and the relationship I had with video games. When you're a kid and you get a video game, it's a pretty big event quite often.
Some kids might only get one game a year.
Yeah.
And all we know, you know?
And the excitement really builds up, and it's, you know, you might have to wait until Christmas or your birthday, like more so even than when you're an adult. You don't quite have the impulse control, like waiting 4 months seems like a lifetime to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if a kid, you know, isn't going to be able to just go out and buy whatever games they want, not that everyone can do that, but you know, there's a very special relationship, I think, between children and the games they're getting, if they're really into games and if games mean a lot to them. And I think it's very important to be able to be truthful with them and tell them, you know, this is one that's going to give you like a special experience you're going to remember for a long time. This one's frivolous fun, it's good with your friends, that sort of thing. And then also to say, don't buy Tony Hawk Ride because it's rubbish.
But it's full of technology, James. I know what you're talking about.
It's very bad.